When it comes to Donald and Melania Trump, public displays of affection aren't exactly their trademark. They usually keep things pretty reserved. But every now and then they surprise everyone. And yes, some of those rare moments have been caught on camera. So, let's check out the times they actually turned up the tenderness. Starting with one of the most recent appearances, Easter 2025. At the White House celebration, the couple was spotted holding hands and even sharing a gentle kiss on the cheek. Yep, love was literally in the air.
And I just want to give a special thank you to our great First Lady who organized this entire event. She worked very, very hard on it.
Another headline-making moment unfolded during Trump's second inauguration. As he leaned in with puckered lips, Melania, in a dramatic, wide-brimmed hat, tilted her cheek just enough to offer him an air kiss. Social media had a field day. Some saw it as a cold shoulder, others thought it was kind of cute. What's your take? Romantic misfire or subtle affection?
She's been a great First Lady, a beautiful and a great First Lady.
Then there was the New York Stock Exchange visit, after Trump was named Time's 2024 Person of the Year. Melania was right there beside him, and believe it or not, she was noticeably affectionate, touching his arm, placing her hands on him several times. Body language expert Judy James told the Daily Mail that this signaled a more confident, composed version of Melania. Looks like the former First Lady was stepping into a new chapter with a bit more ease.
When I first came in, we came down, Melania and I, a great First Lady, who's very popular, by the way. She rang in the bell.
Now let's rewind way back to 2004. Outside Trump Tower in New York, cameras caught Melania kissing Donald's cheek as he grinned into the distance. The whole pose felt like they were consciously putting on a show, but hey, at least they looked happy doing it. Back then, Melania seemed more relaxed and even playful, and honestly, it's kind of refreshing to see them in those early, carefree moments.
Well, we just had a great time and we didn't worry about it and, just live lives.
One particularly sweet throwback is a photo from July 2009 at a Mets game where the couple is kissing in their seats. Who knew baseball could bring the romance? Fast forward to the 2016 Republican National Convention. It was a big year for the Trumps, and during Melania's speech, she talked about Donald's lesser-seen side.
He's tough when he has to be, but he's also kind and fair and caring.
On stage, they hugged and exchanged a cheek kiss as Melania waved to the crowd. Donald even couldn't help but make a playful face, clearly enjoying the public display of affection. Later that year, at a campaign rally in North Carolina, Trump went full-on affectionate. He pulled Melania in for multiple kisses in front of cheering fans. Wearing a white MAGA hat, he hugged her, kissed her, and even held her hand as they walked off. For a couple known for keeping things private, this was PDA overload.
I support my husband 100%.
And in 2018, despite swirling rumors about their relationship, the Trumps continued to appear united in public. At a state arrival ceremony for French President Emmanuel Macron, Donald tried to kiss Melania, but her wide-brimmed white hat made it a bit tricky. So he settled for a few quick air swooches instead. Classic Trump improvisation, right? However, these rare tender moments often get overshadowed by Melania's famously frosty reactions in other public appearances. During Donald Trump's acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention, where he officially snagged the Republican nomination for the 2024 presidential race, Melania Trump was caught on camera doing what she does best, sidestepping a kiss from her husband. Yep, she just casually dodged it like she was avoiding a bad case of morning breath. Well, it's these little moments that keep us all on the edge of our seats, wondering what's really going on behind those closed doors.
Whether you love me or hate me, you gotta vote for me.
But wait, there's more. This isn't the first time Melania's body language has stolen the show. Over the years, she's perfected the art of slapping away his hand, ripping her hand out of his grip, and just flat out walking away from him during photo ops. Speaking of hands, who could forget the infamous umbrella incident in October 2018? Here's how it went down. It was raining, and President Trump, ever the gentleman, was holding an umbrella over his own head, leaving Melania to fend for herself in the downpour. Chivalry is apparently dead, at least in the Trump household. Remember that World Series game? the one where she smiled sweetly next to Donald for all of 2 seconds before turning away and rolling her eyes as if she was thinking, "Ugh, not again." That clip went viral faster than you could say awkward marriage, with critics quick to point out that Melania has a knack for these less than warm interactions with her hubby.
Don't be rude.
And then there's that cringe-worthy moment when Trump attempted to hold Melania's hand while welcoming French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Brigitte, to the White House. Trump tried everything, tapping, curling his pinky, you name it, until Melania finally relented after what felt like an eternity. By the time she grabbed hold, you could almost hear the collective sigh of relief from onlookers who were probably cringing so hard they pulled a muscle. And let's not skip over their arrival in Israel, where Trump reached for Melania's hand, only for her to swiftly and subtly swat it away. The next day, despite the whole world talking about her hand-swatting skills, she did it again in Rome. But this time, she had a convenient excuse. She needed that hand to fix her hair. Yeah, right. Also, remember when Melania's yellow coat became the talk of Twitter? With her coat strategically draped over her shoulders, she set the internet ablaze once again when a video shared by NBC News showed Trump appearing to fumble awkwardly for her hand as they walked toward their awaiting aircraft. It was like watching a toddler trying to grab a slippery fish. It just wasn't happening.
Oh, and you like all her choices, or are you ever like, what?
No, not all her choices, but tonight I like it a lot. She looks great.
Also, we cannot overlook that 2017 rally where Trump touched Melania's arm, and she shuddered like she'd just touched a live wire. Not exactly a love-struck display, right? Even a fancy fundraiser couldn't make Melania look happier around her husband. At the International Red Cross in Mar-a-Lago, Melania looked like she was already working on her escape plan. It was as if she had a mental map to the nearest exit, plotting her getaway with all the precision of a top-secret mission. Spoiler alert, she didn't succeed. But the pièce de résistance has to be when Melania introduced Donald on stage at a US Air Force event. Normally, this is where you'd expect a sweet peck on the cheek, right? Wrong. Trump greeted her with a pro forma handshake and then, wait for it, gave her a little push, motioning for her to stand off to the side like she was an afterthought. You can't make this stuff up. And who could forget Trump's inauguration? The big day when all eyes were on them. But instead of waiting for his wife, or, helping her out of the car like a true gentleman, Trump charged up the White House steps to greet the Obamas, leaving Melania to walk up alone a few paces behind him. It's almost like he was trying to set a new world record for fastest abandonment of a spouse on a historic occasion. Standing awkwardly beside his wife, Trump was no match for Obama's charm as he gracefully kissed Michelle's hand, perhaps leaving Melania to wonder what could have been. Adding to the awkwardness was the inauguration kiss, or rather, its absence. Trump leaned in, presumably aiming for a tender moment, but footage shows the connection was less than smooth. With Michelle and Barack Obama watching, it looked like a romantic comedy scene gone hilariously awry. Then there was that viral gif from the inauguration that everyone was talking about. On the Capitol steps, Trump looked back at his wife, and she responded with a smile that lasted for about 2 seconds. The moment he turned away, her smile turned into a grimace that looked like she had just bitten into a lemon. Even at the inaugural ball, Melania couldn't hide her emotions. Maybe it was just a bad angle, but that didn't stop the internet from buzzing about her seemingly sour expression on the dance floor. This awkward dynamic isn't new. Remember when Donald and Melania hosted the Czech Prime Minister at the White House? Trump and the Prime Minister dashed inside, leaving Melania and Monica Babišova out in the cold, as if they were extras in a bad sitcom. Melania tried to shuffle around to get in line, clearly unprepared for this frosty reception. And things didn't exactly warm up inside. You can almost feel the lady's frustration radiating through the screen. Oof, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Probably the happiest we've ever seen Melania Trump was when she left the White House. Maybe it was the sweet relief of finally being free from the constant duty of being by her husband's side. In a show-stopping outfit, she made her exit with a clear sense of joy and unfiltered happiness. While Trump faced the media alone, Melania practically danced away, her delight at leaving the White House barely concealed. If there was ever a moment that shouted, "I'm so ready for a fresh start," this was it. And lastly, do you remember his remark at a Republican fundraiser? The one when Trump took the stage and, in his usual unscripted style, joked that First Lady Melania wouldn't be overcome with grief if he ended up in a tragic situation. He compared it to Rapier's Steve Scalise's shooting, saying, "Scalise's spouse cried her eyes out when I met her at the hospital that day. I mean, not many wives would react that way to tragedy. I know mine wouldn't. It's almost creepy how it turned out to be a strange bit of foreshadowing, as in 2024, Trump ended up getting shot in the ear himself. Talk about life imitating art. Well, the art of humor, that is. Well, I bet Melania was upset about this, or so her public statement said. With a track record like this, it's no wonder people are glued to their screens every time the Trumps step out in public. But what do you think? Is Melania really unhappy with Donald, or is she just not a fan of PDA? Share your thoughts in the comments.